The silence was the first thing that struck David Miller. Not the comfortable hum of a sleeping house, but an unnatural void with a soft, rhythmic breathing of his 8-year-old son, Ethan, should have been. He pushed himself up from bed, a prickle of unease crawling up his spine. The digital clock on the nightstand glowed 6:03 a.m., a Tuesday in October 2005. The air was crisp, hinting at the coming autumn chill. He walked to Ethan's room, his bare feet cold on the hardwood floor. The door was ajar, just as he'd left it, but the bed was empty. The dinosaur-themed comforter lay rumpled, a silent testament to a restless night, but no Ethan. David's heart began to pound, a frantic drum against his ribs. "Ethan," he called out, his voice laced with tremor he couldn't control. No answer. He checked the bathroom, the kitchen, the small backyard. Nothing. Then he saw it. On the kitchen counter, beneath a magnet holding up Ethan's latest crayon masterpiece, was a folded piece of paper. Not Ethan's childish scrawl, but neat, precise typewritten letters. His hand shook as he unfolded it. "David Miller, your son, Ethan, is with me. Call the police and he dies. Follow my rules and he lives. This is your trial, David. Prove your worth." The words swam before his eyes, blurring into an incomprehensible nightmare. Ethan, gone, a kidnapper, and a threat that paralyzed him. He wanted to scream, to tear the house apart, to call anyone, everyone, but the last sentence echoed in his mind. Call the police and he dies. The landline phone, a beige relic on the kitchen wall, rang, startling him. He snatched it up, his voice a strangled whisper. "Hello?" A distorted, metallic voice, devoid of emotion, spoke. "David Miller, you received my message. Good. Listen carefully. Your son is safe for now, but his safety depends entirely on your obedience. No police, no friends, no family. You are alone in this. Understand?" David's throat was dry. Yes, I understand. Just please don't hurt him. He will not be harmed as long as you play my game. The first challenge will arrive on your mobile device in 5 minutes. Do not fail. Do not deviate. Your son's life is in your hands. The line went dead. He stared at his flip phone, a Nokia 3310, clutched in his trembling hand. 5 minutes. 5 minutes until his world would be irrevocably altered. He sank into a kitchen chair, the cold linoleum floor a stark contrast to the burning terror in his chest. He was a single father, a widower for 5 years, raising Ethan alone. They were a unit, a team, and now his team was broken. Precisely 5 minutes later, a text message arrived. Go to the old oak tree in Willow Creek Park. The answer lies where laughter once echoed. Willow Creek Park, Ethan's favorite, a place of countless afternoons spent on swings, chasing squirrels, building sandcastles. David knew the old oak tree. It was their spot where they carved their initials years ago. He grabbed his keys, his wallet, and a bottle of water, his mind a whirlwind of fear and desperate hope. As he reached for the doorknob, a sharp knock echoed through the quiet house. David froze. Police? Had the kidnapper seen him? He hesitated, his hand hovering over the lock. The knock came again, more insistent. He opened the door a crack, peering through the narrow gap. A man stood on his porch, tall and impeccably dressed, with kind, intelligent eyes. He held a police badge. "Mr. Miller?" "Detective Thomas Thorne. A neighbor reported some unusual activity this morning. Is everything all right?" David's mind raced. The kidnapper's warning. But Thorne seemed genuinely concerned, his demeanor calm and reassuring. David was desperate, alone. He needed help, but couldn't ask for it. Everything's fine, detective. Just a bit of scare. Ethan's. He's at his grandmother's. I just forgot. The lie felt clumsy, transparent. Thorne's gaze was perceptive. "Mr. Miller, I understand if you're hesitant to involve us, but if something is wrong, even if it's just a feeling, please tell me. I'm here to help discreetly if necessary." He lowered his voice. "I've worked cases like this before. Sometimes the less official attention, the better, especially when children are involved." David looked into Thorne's eyes, seeing not suspicion but empathy. A lifeline. He was drowning, and Thorne was offering a hand. He made a split-second decision. "My son, Ethan, he's been taken." He choked out the words, the confession a painful release. He quickly explained the note, the phone call, the threat. Thorne listened intently, his expression grave. "All right, Mr. Miller. You did the right thing by not calling 911. We'll handle this my way. No official report, no sirens, no media circus. Just you and me. Can you trust me?" David nodded, a desperate hope blooming in his chest. Yes, I can." "Good. Now, tell me about this first challenge. The park. What's the clue?" Thorne's questions were precise, his mind already working, analyzing. He seemed to understand the kidnapper's twisted logic almost instinctively. They drove to Willow Creek Park in Thorne's unmarked sedan, the detective's presence a strange comfort amidst David's terror. Thorne instructed David to go alone to the oak tree, while he observed from a distance, communicating via a discreet earpiece. "Describe everything you see, Mr. Miller, every detail." David found the old oak tree, its branches gnarled and ancient. He ran his hand over the carved initials. D+E. A wave of memories, of laughter and sunshine, washed over him, quickly replaced by the chilling reality of his situation. He looked around, his eyes scanning the familiar landscape. There's nothing here, detective, just the tree." "Look closer, David," where laughter once echoed. "What does that mean to you and Ethan?" Thorne's voice was calm, guiding. David's gaze fell upon the old wooden swing set, now rusty and creaking in the wind. He and Ethan had spent hours there. He walked towards it, his heart pounding. Beneath the swing, half buried in the dirt, was a small, plastic toy soldier, Ethan's favorite, and taped to its back, another typewritten note. "The next step is where dreams are built. Find the highest point." He relayed the message to Thorne. "The highest point, the old water tower?" "Possible," Thorne replied. "But think about Ethan. What's the highest point in his dreams? What did he always want to build?" David's mind flashed to Ethan's elaborate Lego creations, towering castles and spaceships. His bedroom, he always wanted to build a tower to the ceiling. "Go there, David. I'll be right behind you." Back at the house, David raced to Ethan's room. The Lego bin was overturned, pieces scattered everywhere. He frantically searched, his hands sifting through the colorful plastic. Then he saw it, a single red Lego brick, slightly larger than the others, tucked beneath the bed, and taped to it the third note. "Your son's favorite story holds a key. The one about the brave knight and the dragon. Where does the knight find his courage?" David's mind went blank. Ethan had dozens of books. He called Thorne, his voice cracking. "I don't know, detective. He has so many." "Which one?" "Think, David. The one you read to him every night. The one he always asked for. The one that gave him courage." Thorne's voice was patient, almost too patient. David remembered the adventures of Sir Reginald the Brave. He always loved the part where Sir Reginald finds his courage in the Whispering Woods. "The Whispering Woods," Thorne repeated. "Is there a place like that near you? A local legend, perhaps?" David's eyes widened. "The old abandoned logging trail. They call it the Whispering Woods because of the way the wind sounds through the pines. Go there, David, and be careful. This kidnapper is playing a psychological game. He knows you. He knows Ethan. David drove to the logging trail, the fear now a cold, hard knot in his stomach. The sun was beginning to set, casting long, eerie shadows through the dense pines. The wind did indeed whisper, a mournful, unsettling sound. He walked deeper into the woods, calling Ethan's name, his voice swallowed by the vastness of the forest. He found it near a fallen log, half hidden by moss and decaying leaves. A small wooden box, intricately carved. Inside, a miniature compass and another note. The final destination is where all journeys end. Follow the true north, David. And remember, time is running out. He relayed the message to Thorne, his voice trembling. The final destination where all journeys end. What does that mean? Thorne was silent for a moment. It's a trick, David, a psychological play. The kidnapper wants you to think of death, of an ending. But what's the true north for a father? What's the ultimate destination? David thought of Ethan, of their life together, of the future he envisioned for his son. Home. It's always home. Exactly, David. Your home, but not your house. Think about the compass. True north. What's the most important thing in your home? The one thing that always points you in the right direction? David's mind raced. His wife's old grandfather clock, a family heirloom. It had a small, brass compass embedded in its base. The grandfather clock. Go there, David. I'll meet you at your house. And be ready. This is it. David sped back to his house, his heart a frantic drum solo. He burst to the front door, calling Ethan's name. The house was silent. He ran to the grandfather clock, its steady tick-tock a mocking rhythm against his racing pulse. He examined the compass at its base. It pointed north, as always, but beneath it, a small, almost invisible latch. He opened it. Inside, a tiny, rolled-up piece of paper. The final note. Congratulations, David. You have passed my trial. Your son is safe. He is in the place where he feels most secure, most loved, the place you have always provided. Look in the place where you first found him missing, the place where his dreams begin. Ethan's room. David sprinted up the stairs, his legs burning. He burst into Ethan's room. The bed was still empty. His heart plummeted. A trick. It was all a trick. He was about to collapse when he heard it. A faint, muffled sound. From the closet. He tore open the closet door. Ethan was there, curled up amidst a pile of blankets and stuffed animals, fast asleep. A small, empty juice box lay beside him. He looked peaceful, unharmed. David fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face, relief washing over him in a tidal wave. He gently scooped up his son, holding him tight, burying his face in Ethan's soft hair. As he held Ethan, a thought, cold and sharp, pierced through the haze of his relief. The kidnapper knew Ethan's favorite park, his favorite toy, his favorite story. He knew about the grandfather clock. He knew about the closet. He knew about the specific time David woke up. He knew everything. Too much. He carried Ethan downstairs, cradling him protectively. Detective Thorne was standing in the living room, a calm, reassuring smile on his face. You found him, David. I knew you would. You're a good father. David looked at Thorne, really looked at him. The kind eyes, the empathetic demeanor, the almost supernatural ability to guide him through the kidnapper's twisted game. It was all too perfect. The kidnapper had known every detail of his life, every intimate memory with Ethan. How could he have known all that unless he was the one who had been there all along, the one who had observed, who had listened, who had learned every detail of their lives, the one who had offered help, only to orchestrate the entire ordeal. David's gaze fell to Thorne's hands. They were impeccably clean, nails neatly trimmed. But as Thorne shifted, a faint, almost imperceptible scar on his left wrist caught David's eye. A small, jagged line, partially hidden by his watch. It was the same scar David had seen on the kidnapper's hand in a fleeting glimpse through a window during one of the challenges, a detail he had dismissed as a trick of his panicked mind. "You," David whispered, the realization a cold, sickening punch to the gut. It was you. David's mind raced, a whirlwind of disbelief and horror. Thorne, the man who had offered him solace, who had guided him through the labyrinth of the kidnapper's demands, was the monster. The revelation was a betrayal so profound it threatened to shatter his very being. He held Ethan tighter, his son's small, warm body a fragile shield against the chilling truth. "Why?" David's voice was a raw whisper, barely audible above the frantic beating of his own heart. "Why, Ethan? Why me?" Thorne's smile widened, a predatory glint in his eyes. "Ethan is merely a symbol, David, a pawn in a larger game. And you were the perfect subject. A father who lost his wife, left to raise his son alone. A man teetering on the edge, vulnerable, desperate. The ideal candidate for my experiment." He gestured around the living room, as if it were a stage. "I wanted to see if a father truly, deeply, loved his son enough to navigate the darkness I laid before him, to prove that some bonds are unbreakable, even in the face of absolute terror. And if I had failed?" David's voice was laced with venom. Then Ethan would have become another statistic, another child of a father who wasn't worthy. A lesson for the next one. Thorne's tone was chillingly detached, as if discussing a scientific hypothesis. "But you didn't fail, David. You persevered. You found him. You proved your worth. And now you understand." "Understand what?" David demanded, his eyes burning with a mixture of fear and rage. "The burden of fatherhood, David. The crushing weight of responsibility. The constant fear of failure. My father, he never understood. He saw me as a burden, an inconvenience. He left. Just left. And I was left to fend for myself, to navigate a world that offered no guidance, no protection." Thorne's voice, for the first time, held a flicker of genuine pain, a raw wound beneath the polished facade. "I wanted to show them, all of them, the fathers who abandon, the fathers who fail. I wanted to show them what true fatherhood demands." The front door, which David had left ajar in his haste, slowly swung shut, the click of the lock echoing ominously in the silent house. Thorne took another step, his shadow falling over David and Ethan. The empathetic detective was gone, replaced by the chilling figure of the kidnapper, a man driven by profound, twisted trauma, now ready to claim his prize. David was trapped, not just by the locked door, but by the terrifying realization that the man who pretended to be his savior was, in fact, the monster he had been desperately trying to escape. The trial was over, but the nightmare, David realized with a cold dread, had only just begun. He had found his son, but he had lost his world. And the true test of a father, he now understood, was not just finding his child, but protecting him from the unseen horrors that lurked in the most unexpected places, even within the guise of a trusted ally. The echoes of Thorne's twisted logic filled the room, a chilling testament to a broken past and a terrifying present. David knew, with a sickening certainty, that he had walked right into the lion's den, and this time there was no escape. The game was over, and the kidnapper, the detective, had won. The father's trial had ended, but the sentence, David realized, was just
If you have a
beginning.
strange experience or a story you can't explain, leave it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. There are many more stories waiting to be told. Until the next video, stay safe.